Konnichiwa, hajimemashite, Kunioji desu, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. And today we are going to take a look at the hybrid premium tier 7 medium, the Edelweiss, or commonly known to other people as the anime tank. Stay tuned, I've got a couple of killer gameplays coming up as soon as we review this tank with the other tier 7 premiums or medium tanks, as well as looking at its armor profile and as well how to use it a lot more effectively in the battle. So what to know about the Edelweiss first? Well, the Edelweiss was basically piloted by Lieutenant Wilken Gunther, who is the protagonist in the game or the anime Valkyria Chronicles. Now I've played Valkyria Chronicles before and pretty much I've seen how the Edelweiss looks like, and comparing it to the in-game appearance overall, it looks absolutely majestic here. Pretty much you can see the gun and the turret, the gun is basically detailed here, as well as the front. It looks a lot like a King Tiger 2's frontal armor. The chassis looks a lot like a Panzer III, and the rear is basically your typical anime tank-ish engine. Basically, if I remember, this is where the Ragnite is supposed to go. And to explain briefly, Ragnite is a sort of a mineral that powers up basically almost everything in the world of Valkyria Chronicles. Aside from that, the details, the camo itself, and also this Edelweiss flower on the turret, it looks absolutely fantastic. I really couldn't say anything that much except that this tank looks absolutely amazing. So anyway, let's go into the tank comparison as well as the armor profile. So considering the equipment, the provisions, as well as the normal AP rounds, we're going to compare the Edelweiss with the other premiums, and including the tier 7 British medium, the Comet. DPM wise, the Edelweiss has a lot better DPM than the Dracula by 8%, but it's lagging behind in comparison with the Panther M10, the Rudy, and even the E3 or the British tier 7 medium, the Comet. For penetration, it has a lot better penetration than the Rudy and the Comet, but it's lagging behind the Dracula, and the Panther M10, basically it shares the same penetration as well as with the E3. Alpha-wise, this is where the Edelweiss gets to excel in. It has a lot better alpha than the Panther M10, the Rudy, the E3, or even the Comet, but it basically shares similar alpha with the T6 Dracula. But for the rate of fire, the Panther M10, the Rudy, as well as the next two tanks basically are beating the hell out of the Edelweiss in this category, but the Edelweiss has slightly better rate of fire than the T6 Dracula. For reload, the Edelweiss reloads at 5.81 seconds, weaker than the Panther M10, the Rudy, the E3, or even the Comet, but a lot better than the T6 Dracula. And the shell velocity, it's lagging back here. Basically, if you're going to try to shoot tanks on the move, you're going to have to really position your reticle at a very early or before even your reticle already focuses on the tank, because it only has 830 compared to the Panther M10's 925, the Dracula's 860, the Rudy's 950, and the E3's 975, but it's a lot better than the Comet. In terms of weapon handling, the Edelweiss has significantly a lot better aim time than the other tanks. The dispersion, it's not that good, but it's a lot better than the T6 Draculas. Dispersion on movement, it's not that good, but it's similar with the E3 and the Comet. The gun depression or the gun elevation is not that good. It's inferior compared to the M10, the Dracula, the Rudy, the E3, or the Comet, but it shares the same depression in terms of comparing it with the Rudy or the Panther M10. Mobility-wise, the Edelweiss has a top speed of 53 km per hour. It is not that good compared to the Panther M10's 55, and the Dracula's 65, the Rudy's 54, and the T23E3's 56, but it's not that of a difference with the Comet. For power to rate ratio, it's a lot better than the Panther M10, the Rudy, the E3, or even the Comet, but the Dracula beats all of these tanks in this category. So what basically that means is that the Edelweiss can be able to reach its top speed faster than its other rivals, except for the Dracula. Terrain resistance, it's not that good compared to the Dracula, the Rudy, the E3, or the Comet, but it's a lot better or no difference at all with the Panther M10. Armor-wise, it has a decent armor rating frontally with 90mm at the front of the hull, the turret at 100mm, and 40, 40, 40, 40 on the sides and the rear. Comparing it with the other tanks, it has a better frontal armor than the Rudy, the E3, or even the Comet, except for the turret armor, and of course a lot better than the Dracula, as well as the Panther M10's 85mm on the hull, but the turret is basically just the same. Now let's go take a look at the armor profile of the Edelweiss. So we are looking at the armor profile of the Edelweiss here. Frontally, we can see that it has a base armor of 93mm, but it is angled at a 45-degree angle, so which means that it increases its effectiveness to 107mm, and if you'll point over on the top of here, it increases to 188mm. So basically what it means that you basically are going to bounce shots if the enemy tries to shoot you on this part, where they're supposed to be shooting you on this part or on this part, because the lower plate only has a base armor of 62mm, but it is sloped at a 45-degree angle, increasing its effectiveness to around 100mm. Aside from that, moving on to the turret part, we can see that it is angled extremely here at 67 degrees, increasing its effectiveness to 216mm. On the top, it's only 254, and on the turret ring, we have 117. But one thing to note here is the gun mantlet. It's spaced armor, which means that you're going to likely bounce a lot of shots here. It's got 255mm, or 207 for a slightly closer range here. And at the back of the mantlet, it only has 177mm. Moving on to the sides, it has spaced armor on the sides as well. The side skirts here are going to negate some heat rounds here. At least they serve a purpose, and which means you can also be able to side scrape. It has an effective armor ranging from 200 to at least around 250, which means that basically you're going to bounce a lot of shots as long as you know how to angle your tank properly. The side armor only has 40, as we mentioned on the tank comparison, and on the rear basically it's basically laughable. So pretty much you can shoot your HE rounds on the back here, especially on the engine deck, or on the back of the turret, which is only 21mm. Now you're more likely to aim at the back of the turret on this thing, and the cupola is only 65mm, so you might want to take advantage of that as well. So when you're playing your Edelweiss, you're gonna have to diagonally position your tank, which increases your effectiveness. And if basically they're gonna shoot here, it's gonna ricochet off, or especially on this. But this position is basically not that good, especially that when they can always just shoot you on this side here. So after assessing the Edelweiss strengths and weaknesses by comparing it with the other tanks, as well as taking a look at the armor profile, we can say that the Edelweiss isn't really fit for sniping roles. It's more of a mid-range support tank. It can lead a charge if it's on the top of the list, but I thoroughly would not recommend it, despite the fact that some parts of its armor is going to be a lot trollish, especially in the turret part, and maybe on the top part of the hull here, at the sloping area. You can side scrape with this thing as well, so it increases your chances of bouncing, increasing your armor effectiveness. And aside from that, the tank has a rather punchy gun, which can help you in some certain situations. As well as I'd also like to comment that the Edelweiss also gets a very good engine, and also to couple it with a very good power to weight ratio, which means that the Edelweiss can get its top speed a lot faster than some other tier 7 mediums. But anyway, that's enough theory crafting, let's go get stuck into some gameplay. So we've loaded onto our first battle, and pretty much we're on the top of the list. I decided to go help out this AMX and going to the medium part of this map. Unfortunately, the VK decides to just abandon us. So pretty much on this flank, me and the AMX will be holding on to this all by our lonesomes. Anyway, AMX, you've got an Edelweiss backing you up anyway. So the AMX spots the VK. I decide to go out and try to, if I can see, try to put a shot onto him. Unfortunately, I did not take the opportunity here because I thought that there were some heavies that were going to show up on that ridge over there, and I could put some side shots on them. And unfortunately, as I back off, I see this IS looking at me. I immediately reverse, and he fires his shot and missed in the nick of time. So pretty much at this point, I really didn't know what to do here until that I thought that I have to switch my focus on this flank over here. Considering we're going up against 3 tanks and there's only 2 of us, we see this AMX. I decided to take the shot. I put a shot onto him, dealing 208 damage. Unfortunately, this AMX needs to live. He's got a lot more firepower than I do. So I put a shot on the AMX, and unfortunately this pick tracks us. But we need to try to finish the AMX, and we do. Now we need to take out this pick. I decided to load HE here, given that this pick has a very weak armor. I decided to go rush. Basically, it's the only opportunity. And unfortunately, this VK decides to back his friend up. I decided to put a shot onto him. We deal 215 damage. And I decided to go try my luck on side scraping here. Unfortunately, he doesn't fire, but luckily, he's already taken out. So now this pick needs to be taken out. I decided to load in HE again and hope that I could be able to high roll him. And I thought that this pick was going to roll over here. Unfortunately, it was my mistake that I lost the AMX. But anyway, I shot HE and dealt almost 300 damage. Now I decide to rush on this pick. This pick really needs to get a life now. Alright, can we put a shot onto him? Yes, we finish him off. Alright, now it's time for us to clean up the rest of the game here. I decide to go rush in. Pretty much, I really don't want to get shot by that KV2. I don't want to get my hit points get eaten. He pretty much has the opportunity to one-shoot me. So I shift my focus on this AT7. He's showing his sides. I reload. Can we finish him? Yes, we can finish him. And displays WZ. We put a shot into him. Nice. And he's left only to 1 shot. I decided to shift my focus on this KV2. I load in. Unfortunately, our rounds bounced. And pretty much this is already a clean-up game. So pretty much you see just how the Edelweiss is a very good tank for being a support tank, especially when there's only 2 people on the one flank over there. So that was an absolute okay round. Let's go take a look at the after battle stat. So that was quite of an okay round. We dealt 2022 damage and killed 3 tanks. So pretty much you guys saw just how good the Edelweiss would be as a support tank. But now let's go see how the Edelweiss would perform in trying to get a Top Gun. So I am on the top of the list again, and pretty much we are playing in Naval Frontier now, which is basically the new map at update 4.2. And pretty much I'm expecting more of maps, and unfortunately this ARL decides to ram us. Screw off. So anyway, moving on, I decided to go take the position here, which is basically my favorite position, because there's a bush around here, mainly that one, which could allow me to stay hidden while spotting the tanks. And look at that, we spot 3. Put a shot at the VK, the IS, yes, we put a shot on him. We spot the IS as well, the T20. And this T20 shoots HE at us, which rolls only for 30. And unfortunately our shots bounce on the VK, and we shot his bounce as well by side scraping. Now you guys see the advantage of this thing side scraping because of the side skirts. Pretty much it's not that big of a side skirts, unlike what you guys see in the Anko or in the Schmalzer Panzer IV, but it's still good enough to give you a very good advantage anyway. So I shift my focus on this VK. Unfortunately, our shots don't go through. I decided to go aggressive here. Pretty much, I had second thoughts on trying to do about this, but anyway, we put a shot onto the IS, and wow, we put a shot onto his cupola. Can we shoot this? Yes. Unfortunately, that was a mistake for me to load in HE because I thought that it would actually hit the turret. I load onto this T-37, and unfortunately, that KV-2 literally ate our health thanks to this ARL. Thanks, bud, you idiot. So anyway, this is pretty much, I need to do something here. I seriously need to try to do some carrying here. I need to dish out as many damage as I could. I load an APCR and shoot that IS. Now I decide to finish him. Can we Yes, we can. It may seem that luck was on our side because the KV-2 didn't manage to one-shot us, because apparently it's thanks to these side skirts. So pretty much you guys see just how effective the side skirts are when side scraping, as well as some people shooting HE on you. It will absorb some damage. So anyway, I decided to go rush in and finish this PK off. And this KV-2's left. I need to finish him off. Come on. Yes, we can. Can we put another shot? Come on, come on. Come on, gun. Reload for me. And yes! Now I noticed that ARL was only shooting HE, but who cares? So anyway, I decided to just put a shot on this T20. Can we? Yes, yes! 4 kills and maybe top damage. So that was an absolute round. Let's go take a look at the after battle stats. So that was an excellent round. We dealt 2,110 damage and killed 4, picking us up a Top Gun as well as the Scout Medal for scouting 5 tanks. And I could honestly say that that was not a bad round. That was actually quite good, for at least in my opinion, because as much as possible I decided to go to a spot where I can be able to spot the enemy, and as well as letting my teammates know where they are going, and pretty much that gave us the advantage early in the game. So now that we've taken an in-depth look on the Edelweiss performance as well as its performance, the armor profile, now the question has come, is the Edelweiss worth it? Well, pretty much I could say that the Edelweiss is a lot more worth than the Nameless or the Lupus, because the Edelweiss is a lot more fun, and honestly, being a medium tank player myself, I enjoy the Edelweiss a lot more than my Nameless. And pretty much it gives me the opportunity to flank around tanks, as well as taking advantage of slower tanks which could not outflank me or turn their turrets around. So very much as soon as you see the Edelweiss on sale, go pick it up. So hopefully this video was somehow informative to you all, and if it was, please consider giving it a like down below, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of the Edelweiss and the other Valkyria Chronicles tanks down in the comments. And as always, thank you so much guys for watching. You've all been epic, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video and in the battlefield.